Now, Lena River we have seen before, but of course this is in the ladder map rotation, so we are going to see some repeats while we cover ladder games during these stages. Anyhow, I am going to introduce the players. We have Team 1 across here at the top, Team 2 across here at the bottom, and I'm doing a reminder of myself today to try and speak a little bit slower. Just wanting to try and get a bit of a better rhythm to the casting as we go through. Right then, first up, for team number 1 on the far left hand side, and been assigned the pale pink colour, it is right side, and he is Seraphim opening up with a first land factory. We shall see if he is on the right side of this particular battle. His teammate in the back, which is traditionally the Slot. Good evening, Kasky. How you doing today? It is Ingenious, and we'll find out just how much of an ingenuity he does have, but he's white, he's Cybran. He goes his first land factory and going to move over to the Hydro. And the other rare position for team number 1, given the red colour today, it is Samuel. Very normal name compared to all the rest that you normally see around here, but it's Samuel. He is Seraphim, and as mentioned, he has the red colour. There's his land factory. And finally, for team number 1 in the front-ish, I guess, position, I don't know, but it is Grand Baron 77, and this is going to be Grande. Grande is yellow, Grande is Cybran. He's popping down some more pigeons despite having a Hydro nearby, so he might be going for perhaps a heavy air build. We do see a second air factory planned on there. This looks like some kind of pre-built thing he's going for. Morning for you indeed. Hopefully it's a lovely day. Hopefully things will work out, but we need to introduce team number 2 as well. So slipping on down here, and first off for team number 2 in the far right hand side in the lovely lavender colour, it is Ikrik. And we are just going to call this guy Rick most likely. He is UEF, he's finished his land factory, grabbing his Hydra, and looks like he is planning Navy all day. That is 10 naval factories queued up for a build. I don't know if he's going to complete those, but we'll see how it goes. Behind him in the air slot, if you will, for team number 2, it is RKX, another UEF player. He's been given the orange colour, he's got his land factory up, he's got some pigeons going down, he's going to need them because I think he's got to focus on air, but off he goes. And to the back slot for team number 2 in the light blue colour, it is Templar 95. Now he's gone Cybran, sorry, and he is going for a second air factory here, and looks like a transport is planned as the first drop, so he's probably going to be heading up here to grab those. And finally, for team number 2 in the closest to the ocean, to the front position, it is Mr. GBK 0220. So he's been given the solid old grey colour there, and he's opening his first day, getting a whole bunch of power down, and a few extra pigeons here. Curiously, he's only just finishing his Hydro, so you're gonna keep repeating myself with this. If you do start out and you have a Hydro nearby, you should be building this as your first source of power. It costs the same as, or just a tiny bit more. I'll show you the details. Sorry, let's just get in here because it's good to know. A power generator, a T1 power generator costs 75 mass and 750 energy. A Hydro costs twice the mass, pretty much the same amount of energy, but gives 5 times the power. You always want to go for the Hydro if it's available. With your starting build, you have enough mass and power in the bank, so when you start, you've got these 2 bars filled up here, and there is enough in those to build a land factory, 4 mass extractors, and a Hydro before stalling. So if you have a Hydro nearby your starting place, it's always factory, 2, 3 mixes, depending on how far you've got to walk, and first engineer comes out, builds the Hydro. And that is a standard opening build, and you'll see all the pros do it, unless they're going for something tricky, like a first bomber. That's a completely different build, and yes, don't worry about that if that's what you're going for, but for your standard builds, this is a good start to the eco. Start with a factory, 3 mixes, then hide the first engineer out to the factory, go straight for the Hydro, and your commander comes over and helps build it. That will give you a solid base, and you have enough to build them all without stalling. Anyway, we mentioned the drops going on, and indeed we see Samuel has grabbed this plateau for his team down there, and the reverse fixture over here as well. Templar has come over with a drop, and he's got his engineers down. He's built his factory, he's going to be fine unless there's a bomber coming, which there is not, no bombers, and those engineers are going to be perfectly happy safe. Alright, so let's just have a quick look at the map itself. There is some reclaim to be had, so you do want to drop your islands. You got all these nice chunky rocks. So you drop this island, you're going to get 1275 reclaim from just the rocks, and the trees have mass in them as well, being clumps. And then you got this side island over here again, 1500 mass, just under 1500 mass from the rocks and the trees as well. So you definitely want to be doing what Team 1 has done, dropping the island, getting some engines out, grabbing that reclaim as soon as you can, because you can use that to boost your initial eco up this way. And grab the rocks, upgrade your core mixes, and that will just help get your early eco up. Reclaim is the name of the game for this. Always reclaim the early. Get your economy boosted, and then you can look at building more, getting more onto the field, and reclaiming more. Down here we see some jesters have come out, but the air has been anticipated by Templar, and he's actually spared out a few Sky Slammers. So some tier 1 anti-air is going to shoo those jesters away, plus a defending interceptor which already has 4 kills to its name. I think the jester was the 4th kill, it's got 3 kills otherwise. But he's a happy chappy. These guys are all set from jester. Did lose 1 engineer, but for the trade-off of a single jester, I think that was definitely not worth it. Okay, but this game, so much water, you'll be silly if you don't get into Navy. Navy is an absolute must. The team that wins the Navy most often wins the map. Not always. Some do. You can come back from air, you can come back with game enders, so it can be the difference. But Navy does put a good amount of pressure on your opponents. So over here we see right side, he's dropped this map. Still a few rocks to pick up. He does have a manual claim on it after a patrol order. That's never going to happen. This engine is going to patrol all day before it actually decides to go and grab those rocks. And of course we see here Ingenious, he has dumped this and he's put a lot of units on there. So he's determined to hold this particular island, and he's spent a lot of mass in 2 factories and a bunch of ground units. Now whether these are going to pay for themselves is a strange question. There's only 2 mixers on the island, so you may not want to invest a large amount of eco to hold it, being only 2 mass extractors, but you do want to try and get as much of the reclaim as possible. So get that and you're good. Now we can see Team 2 are missing a trick. Ingenious has managed to land down here with some of his own units, and he's built a factory and he's grabbed the rock reclaim, and he's picking up the mass extractors. Over here we can see a couple of jesters were out from Grande Marin, and he's actually dropping on the island as well with an engineer, not intending to hold it by the look, just an engineer down to start picking up the rocks, I'd imagine. And indeed there we go, you can see the engineer has, or something has planned to grab all those. Actually that is an engineer from Rick. That engineer is going to have a bad time. I don't think it's going to be able to get many of these rocks because this NG is coming in first, and that is definitely a loss of eco for team number 2. They did not want that to happen. Losing the reclaim is not the best idea. Right, jesters are on the move off to the right. Perhaps they've spotted a floating engineer they can go kill. They take him out, they're going to stop him getting this reclaim. There was a factory planned, but that's not going to happen once the jesters turn up. You can see the engineer's going to have a terrible time. Absolutely 0 anti-air on that guy. And the jesters do pick it up just in the end. And now the island is not held. Though we do have more engineers coming in. Looks like there were a set including... no, not the commander. So maybe some engineers over here have planned out. I am not sure. But maybe it's these guys. So that guy even. So he's going up, he's going to build the factory first, but that might be a silly idea. If he builds that up, then he may very well... no, it is rocks first. Jesters are loitering and they are ready to try and pick up an NG kill. Okay, let's have a look at the... hello. We have a beach landing going on here, and those lovely annoying Zooies ready to go. They raise their turrets and start the bombardment. Units static here, although they're going for the anti-air first. Going to see who is paying attention, if Templar is observing, or if these units are simply just going to die from sitting still. No, he has heard the sound, he's heard the explosions, he's now on the move, and he's going to lose another mass extractor, but these Zooies aren't going to get a lot done in the face of some Mantis. And Sky Slammers do have anti-ground, not incredibly accurate, not incredibly damaging, but it is just a tiny bit more. The Mantis is going to have a better time of it. trying to sweep up those Zoes. Another Mantis joins on in, and we shall see that little push come to not much. Okay, did lose a couple of T1 mixes. I don't think that's really worth it though. That could be reboot fairly quickly, and he's managed to drop around 300-400 mass. Just there ready to reclaim. Hello, what do we have going on over here? Right side is actually bringing his commander down, and he changes his mind rather wisely. Instead of going straight in with the transport, which would have done a terrible idea because it was about 10 interceptors loitering in the area, that transporter got shot down pretty darn quickly, and that would have been a huge loss there. He has dropped the commander back over here. Maybe he's just chilling, or maybe he's going to walk. We shall find out. But that could have been disastrous if he had flown that transporter right on down. You can see the interceptors are congregating at this point, so it's expected for there to be drop attempts. Does not need to fly into those anyway. Let's have a check on the Navy situation. We have 4 factories up here for the right side. We have all just T1 at the moment. There might be a T2 shift planned on this because it's not constructing any units. We've got a couple of factories and a third one planned for Samuel. We have 6 factories out here for Genius and another 5 over here for Grande. And no T2 as of yet. They're all sticking with the T1. A few more factories over here for Samuel as well. Checking out for team number 2, we've got 4th factory going up and a 5th one planned for Templar. And for GBK, we already have T2, so he's made the shift to T2 Navy first very quickly. He's rushed that to try and get some extra units out, being supported by a couple of T1 factories, and there's more planned up that way. Those 10 factories from Rick actually look like they're going to complete. He's finished 8 of them, doing his 9th right now, and the 10th one is queued up. Going to be using a lot of resources trying to do that. He might want to focus on getting his eco up before trying to run that many factories. There's a clump of engineers, looks like they are going around from mix to mix. So this is a trick you can do. You can grab all your mech extractors, you can tell them all to upgrade at once, then pause them, and then get a clump of engineers to just go from extractor to extractor and assist for upgrades. This means your mixes will upgrade one by one, and you don't need to think about it as much. You can set them to do that, and they will just go through and do all the upgrades one by one, and it's actually not a terrible idea if you just don't want to micro the mass extractor upgrades. And you can see he's got the mass for it. It's going up pretty darn quickly there. Well, yes, he does have the mass for it, and that's, like I say, it's not a bad idea. Quite handy. Okay. Looks like he's getting some T2 power down here, throwing a shield up over it. So, yep, there's T2EG sitting in the mix of that front. Over here, we can see that, well, right side is walking his commander up in the water. Now, he has to be a little bit careful doing that. He does not want to get caught out by subs. If he gets spotted, we're going to see some submarines come out, do some extra damage. He's only the Seraphim commander, so he does not have torpedo on his comm like you can get with a Siren. Do actually even have Siren in the water? We do. We have yellow, Grande, and white Ingenious. They're both Siren, but the commanders are sitting safe in their bases. I would presume I can't see Grande's comm. Nowhere near there. I wonder where his comm's gone. I actually can't see him. Oh, there he is. So up here in the water is his comm. Well, we do, of course, have Ingenious still back here. And he's actually going for T3 air. That is 75% done by Ingenious towards a T3 air factory. We compare that down here. We have T3 completed already for RKX. So he's ahead in the air game. He's already starting on his first T3 pigeon. So he's going to have a slight advantage on that. Over here we see, and there we go. That now is right side dropping on, and he has a swarm of inties to help clean the air up. Do not want to have that transport caught as it drops on in. There we go. The commander is now on the ground and does have T2 on there. The question is, what is he going to start with first? Well, it's going to be an anti-air turret, followed in by radar. And maybe a T1 point defense would be a good idea, because you're about to be overrun by a bunch of units, and there is a factory down here that can join in with that. And here we go. let the games begin. The air defense is going to go down pretty darn quickly, and out comes a renegade. So that's actually not a great start for Ryeside. He has dropped his commander into a firestorm. Plenty of units surrounding him, and the renegade, of course, is going to be very particularly difficult to take care of unless he brings in his interceptors. There we go, that is all well and sorted. T2 factory here is ready to spit out some T2 units. We have, looks like T2 NG's been dropped by a transport. They're throwing up a T2 PD. And right side is stubbornly sticking here. He wants to make a play for this little wee edge, little wee peninsula, if you will. Wants to be here, wants to win it. Puts up a couple of T1 PD, but that's not gonna, sorry, T1 anti-air. That is not going to save him from T2 ground units, and he's trying to build his point defense within range of the Cerberus turrets. Not a grand idea. That is not going to finish between the Cerberus turret and the Rhino. That is going to be a dead item. Comes in and drops off a whole host of engineers though. Gets some of that extra build power. Gets an overcharge onto the Rhino to take care of that. And now he can look at building T2 PD back here, get some assistance, and that'll go up a lot faster. And also some distracting Zoos from this way. Those will help out. That will give a bit of time to get the point defense up. He's still got a wee bit of an issue though. Doesn't have a lot on the ground to defend or deflect this. It's popping out Zoos every now and then, but they just get primaried right away by the Cerberus turrets. There are now 3 of them up and a 4th one along the way. Not looking too good. Build support is dying. Overcharge onto the units there. The factory is getting hit. Another Corsair comes flying over. Doesn't release his payload. Instead flies straight overhead. So want to keep half an eye on that. He is supporting himself with some Navy, but the Navy might be, actually you'd be a fine. You've got submarines they can't be shot back at. But here's the danger. The Cerberus turrets that are already in place are killing off the build power. You're going to start shooting at the commander and point defense next. You can see the point defense is shooting back. There is 1 Cerberus turret left in range. If we can kill that, that'd be real grand. That would be very helpful. Overcharge the Rhino perhaps, but the transport is going to go down. So that's the quick evac for right side, no longer an option. And the T2 PD has taken out the other Cerberus turret. But there's still a couple left. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the map. And that T2 Navy is also on the field for Rick, so he has made the transition. There we go, 1 factory up, and he has, I saw the cruiser missiles. He's got a destroyer there, cruiser there, shield boat there, got some frigates in support, and he should be able to basically steamroll this section if he wanted to. He's also got a bunch of frigates being supported there by GBK, and the T2 HQ is up front for Grande, and it has been spotted and it is being pinged. He does have a second T2 HQ back here. Probably wiser to keep that one than that one if he has to try and defend them. Up here we can see that right side is taking a terrible amount of punishment. He cannot stand in the face of 3 Cerberus turrets just drilling his health down into nothing. And is being told by his teammates in the chat there to just leave it to get the hell out of dodge. He needs to, there's 1 T2 PD left. It needs to like be focused. Actually pick a target like this target right here. That'd be a great one to do. A little bit of manual retargeting would be absolutely ideal. And in comes an air transport. Does pick right side up. He's got a screen of interceptors in front. So it was an attempt. An attempt was made to try and claim this area. Unfortunately it has not worked, and now right side has to depart and abandon. So a fair amount of mass loss there trying to do that. We have a navy battle over this side. This is Grande trying to defend his home base with just T1 units against a mixture of T2 and T1. Never ends terribly well, though he has got T2 off the conveyor belt now back here, although he's focusing on cruisers as opposed to destroyers. Got a supporting destroyer coming in from Samuel, and between them they should be able to hold this line. So between the cruiser, destroyer, bunch of frigates and T1 subs, they should be alright. And there is a destroyer down here from this factory. So this factory is doing destroyers, this factory is doing cruisers. But we see Grande has decided he does not want to be in the water anymore. He has vacated. And speaking of navy in the water, there is a big push here from the right side. He hasn't been idle with this little push up here with that little drop. In fact, that T2PD is still going for the factory, but he's brought in his navy, and with the assistance from Ingenious, they can actually get Templar out of the water if they decide to focus down this HQ, which I think they've got the units to do. They have killed off any supporting items here, they can kill off the build power, and they really want to try and stop that from getting built if they can. So if they can focus down that HQ, then the destroyer won't get off the conveyor belt. There's going to be a huge amount of mass lost. It is almost done. As a matter of fact, it does finish off just in the nick of time, and it can actually do some kind of battle, though I don't know how long it's going to last against a destroyer, cruiser, or that kind of thing. But we see strat bombers, and I hear another strat bomber somewhere else as well. It was the Seraphim one. It's hiding somewhere else, but anyway, 2 strat bombers here from Templar. He is trying to get he's into the air game and trying to utilize that to assist with his navy, which he is completely out of. And now we see that GBK has turned up with some of his own, and that will push them out. There we go. That's probably the strat I heard. It was the very distinctive Seraphim sound. Those bombs are easily heard from across the other side of the map. There it is, and it's going to drop it on the ocean, doing sweet fuck all. Right, over the side we see navies having to drop back, cannot face up against that pressure. And over here, these 2 strat bombers, they are up and they have some targets, some very open and delicious T2 mixes, just waiting to get obliterated as they do. 1 bomb, 2 bomb, that's a chunk of your eco out of there. And now they've turned back this way and are hunting further targets. We have another set here, which would be a great pick. You can kill the mechs as well as the 5 engineers sitting around it. Kaboom! There's some good bomb work from there. Good evening, Altizen. How are we doing? You know, tier 1 mix, but a mix is a mix, I suppose. Alright, see, and there's another tier 1 mix down there. This bomb is going to pick up another tier 2 mix, so these guys have been doing some work between them. They've taken some damage, but if they can just keep going and drop the bombs at the right spots, maybe not fly straight past, oh, they're all scouts. They'll be fine. We're going to throw some bombs this way, could maybe kill off the power with the right bomb down there, but that is a very heavily damaged T2 factory. But there we go, that's the T3 air factory, and now this bomber has run into, well, ASFs and cruisers. Not the best place to decide to wander. Alrighty, let's have a check. So those 2 guys got a bit of work done. There's a bunch of empty mass extractors. You can see where they've been by the missing eco. Not a bad little run for a pair of bombers. Okay, we have T3 air well in production for RKX, and he is ahead of his friend over here, say friend like enemy, who is currently focusing on, he's got a few ASF down here, but he's got a lot of torpedo bombers, and looks like they are making a play for Navy. With that many torpedo bombers, it looks like they want to try and take control of these seas. Right, down here, this has not been rebuilt by Templar. The naval factories, there we go, so he's planned to rebuild those. He's got engineers coming out to do exactly that. Question is, how long is he going to be able to hold on to that? But we shall see. Down here, T2 Navy, all the T1 factories are still producing. In fact, they're still producing submarines at this stage of the game. When there's T2 Navy in the field, T1 subs, not terribly useful. Though they have very paltry DPS, they die pretty well to the torpedoes or depth charges from destroyers, and it takes them a long time to kill anything. Quite a long time, but this is a reasonable push out from GBK. His shields do drop, however. Now his navy's vulnerable, but he's done a lot of damage to the opponents. Does take down a few units there, and there's some more destroyers under threat, but we see reinforcements coming on in the shape of right side with the navy on the left and the torpedo bombers. Ingenious has those popping on down, and they are ready. They split. They have a split fire indeed. Look at them all shaping up to drop their bombs at different targets. Down they go, and they are looking to take a bunch of damage onto those destroyers, which succeeds. The destroyers are trying to retreat back under the parachutes. There's 1 cruiser down here, 2 cruisers down here, sorry. They're looking to make a difference. The ASCFs do turn up from RKX, maybe a bit late. I hear a bomber, there it is. And kills off a T1 mix there. No idea how close it was to being T2 if at all. I don't think the upgrade had properly started. But there's more T2 mixes ready and vulnerable to be attacked. There is an ASF coming out from Templar. If it spots and picks up that bomber, it won't get too much more done. There we go, it turns on a dime, gets onto the 6, and that bomber maybe gets another bomb off before dying. Very close to. No, it doesn't. So it manages to take out a few mixes there. A couple of them were T2, but ultimately not too sure if that was worth it. Right, let the cruiser spam begin. Right side, Seraphim cruisers coming along, and in come the TAC missiles. And here comes the question, is it going to be TMD versus TAC missiles? We have to keep an eye on that in the near future. Down here though, we can see this is Rick pushing through with some T2 Navy, a couple of destroyers. Maybe they went the wrong side around the island, uncertain, but they managed to kill off a couple of units there. They did sink one destroyer, sink a few frigates and damage down a siren, but there's a few destroyers belonging to Samuel sitting over there, preventing them from going much further. Things go a wee bit quiet in the middle. Navy sitting around still, just eating some TAC missiles. Don't really want to do that. Oh, that was a poor move from that frigate. Basically ran right into the missile to catch it, and he gets sunk from a spot. Still more missiles coming out, and these guys are grouping up over here. They are concerned about getting pushed from the left, as they well might be. Right, we have 4 cruisers, and those missiles are on the spam. We see TMD is getting thrown up rapidly by Templar. He wants to hold on to as much as he can over here, but is going to take some time, and at the moment the eco is under threat, and of course with the extra missiles already in the air when the target dies, that is going to see a goodbye to the reclaim as well, so we can't even get half the mass back to put back into his coffers. Looks like all the TMD is planned, and we'll see if that will be effective enough. It's always difficult to try and outspam cruisers with TAC defense. It is, honestly, sometimes you feel like it's the only thing you can do, and you need to do it to some point, but ultimately it is a losing tactic to try and stop TAC missiles with TAC defense. Okay, some missiles have laundered over this way. It looks like they picked up a few engineers, which are currently sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And we can see these factories might be next, certainly within range. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active defense going up. The cruisers have actually retreated all the way back here, so Ryside is concerned about this band of everything coming his way. And fair enough, there is a fair amount of T2 in here, and they are under parashields as well. Seeing we've got a few destroyers and a few cruisers. Return missiles are coming on back. This group though, pushing up the middle, that's a scary amount. We have a couple of stealth ships. We've got a good amount of destroyers, half a dozen in there, and a couple of cruisers in there just for some anti-air and extra ability. But they are pushing up the mid, so that means GBK has to reposition. Has to meet that threat. He doesn't have much of a choice. Looks like he might get support here though from Rick, who's moving over with his own units, and Ingenious decides maybe I won't do that. Maybe I won't leave my forces out and ready to die. I'm hearing another bomber. There we go. So we see another strat has come out here, and this time it's from RKX. It is looking to kill some things off. Looks like it wants to kill this mix, which doesn't exist right now. A bit of a wasted bomb, and in come the ASFs from Grande. Don't quite kill the bomber before the bomb's out, and that will be another mass extractor down. Most irritating. Now he has to get engineers over there to do some tidy up and rebuild, although he has got a bunch on a transport here, and they can be dropped wherever he likes. Okay, so things are looking pretty even at the moment. I'd say there is an upper hand on the left hand side for team number 1 thanks to right side's cruisers. They are not quite getting through, I think. The shield looks like it remains undamaged, and the TAC defense are just killing off everything there. Chucking a couple of service turrets in case of ground incursion, one would wager, but otherwise should be fine. Navy's having a weird look-see over here. Looks like a bit of a run by attempt from Ingenious, throwing a few T1 units through, seeing what they can get done. Well, they can't get much done because they ran into the superior forces of Rick. And they're going to have a terrible time of trying to defend against that and find themselves sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Like this guy. There we go. Nose up. Down he goes. the frigates just sink beside each other. No big. Alright, but if these guys can't get far enough away, they could maybe kill off some eco. There is a T2 mass extractor under the water that is a wee bit vulnerable. Need to chase down with these units, need to not let them go. Do need to finish them off, but they'll just be an annoyance inside there. And T3 Navy. GBK has skipped straight to the T3 stage this time, and he has a battle cruiser off the lines already. That's going to be a huge help in this particular fight. Very good against T1 and T2 Navy. It is quite dominant over those, which it should be, considering it's a T3 unit. So battle cruiser is operational. Let's check in up this way, and still with attack missiles, and they're just not quite getting things done, are they? There's enough TMD here. We have 6 attack defense up there, and they managed to hold off 4 cruisers at this stage. So now you know, if your opponent has 4 Seraphim cruisers, you need 6 Cybran TMD to be able to stop all the missiles coming on in. But unfortunately, there's no TMD up this way. Seeing a bunch of dead engineers and a dead mass extractor, nothing to slow those down. And they have moved into position. Looks like this is a long range bombardment onto the Navy of Templar. That is probably the last thing he needs. He has got a line of attack defense here. Looks like he's stretching it out towards the right, hoping to intercept as many missiles of those as he can. G'day, Judah. Old game? Old-ish? Not too old. I can't remember what date this was, but no. It's not even a week old, maybe a few days. But it is here. And it is going in the middle though. We see the push coming up from GBK. He's got his battlecruiser out, and his battlecruiser wants some blood. And we just watch those big Zorchi beams come along. They absolutely dominate anything on the surface of the stage, but he wants to be a little bit careful, doesn't want to get too close. One of the advantages of the battlecruiser is its range. He wants to keep it as distant as possible, because then it can just keep doing damage without getting stuff from. And look at how much health it's lost already. It wandered into the massive T2 swarm, and now there's torpedo bombers out as well. And this is probably going to be doomed for the battlecruiser. Yes, indeed, too many torps, too many destroyers. And yeah, battlecruiser is strong, but it's not that strong. It can't take on a giant horde of T2 Navy by itself. Needs a lot more support than that, and needs to stay at range. Left hand side, right side. On the left side is pushing up on the Navy side, and is currently focusing down the destroyers belonging to Templar. And once those are gone, we're going to see a Navy wipe again. So Templar's going to be kicked out to the water once again. He's invested resources to get back in. He was building T2 Navy, but with this amount of units surrounding, and hello T3 from right side. Those are the submarine hunters. They are very nasty T3 unit. Again, they're snipey. They have very long range. Keep them at distance and kite them, and they are most effective when they stay at that kind of range and kill things off. There is another battlecruiser here trying to get things done, but if it swings into destroyer range, its health is going to absolutely plummet. Yes, it can kill off frigates nice and easy, but you can't really take on, like, what's that, 8 destroyers with a single battlecruiser. It just does not work, and the health will disappear. Down here though, another battlecruiser coming out, and if they can get moved on up, it will be very, very helpful at trying to slow this. Having said that, the shield has collapsed that was covering this battlecruiser, and it is going to sink to the ground very, very shortly. It gets destroyers, even some Zuis out, and down it goes there. We are now seeing a bit of a pincer movement. We have had right side push up from this direction, and sweeping in from behind is a few units from Genius. More morals for what I feel. But he has got a good number of destroyers back here and a couple of cruisers, so that will be very handy for taking out things like torpedo bombers or even strategic bombers. That's not a great way to use your strats. They are going to just have a horrible time trying to pick targets, and indeed along comes the air wing from Ingenious, and that is going to clean up the torpedo bombers nice and easy. Where's the air from RKX was in the completely the wrong place, and air from Templar as well joins in, so this should be a nice air victory for team number 2. There we go. The ASFs are getting picked clean out of the sky, superior numbers by a giant amount, and we should see Ingenious be kicked out of the air by those two together. But in comes the reinforcements from Samuel. Not very cohesive with regards to working together, and although I haven't said that, Templar's air has moved away. But hello, this is GBK. His commander was still in the water, and he has been spotted and primaried by every naval unit, and just look at all the firepower coming in on him. He needs to dance and dodge and twist and turn. Right now he's just getting completely bombarded by everything. You needed to be dodging all of that. You can't just dodge those destroyers though. They're going to get him, and he's not going to get away. Just a little bit too far from the shields. I really think he needed to be out of the water a long time ago. Staying there, especially with torpedo bombers and stuff around, not the greatest plan. And hello, that is a battleship from Ingenious and one from Grande. So everybody in the T3 stage over here is indeed, because that's a battleship from Samuel. So all of team number 1 are in the water with T3 tech. We're seeing battleships, we are seeing the submarine hunters, of which there are none left. Apparently they died to something, and we are seeing cruisers and everything. You don't want to leave your air circling around above cruisers. That's just painful to watch. ASF's just circling for nothing, no targets, no anything, and even landed, and they are just getting obliterated. I have a feeling those were the ASFs that belong to GBK, which ended up doing nothing. SDD, no, GBK wasn't Cybran. Those were actually the ones belonging to Templar. So he's forgotten about the ASFs that were over that way, and they are now dead. And this is a problem because there's only one person left in the Navy, and he's barely got T3 as it is. Not much in the way of build power on that factory either. He's going to be relying on things coming off these and these more naturally, but he's up against a larger naval force as it is. Battle cruiser is almost done. Just about to come off the conveyor. Definitely needs to keep the shielding over that. But he's going to struggle to stop 3 battleships as well as all those destroyers for that minimal forces he has. Actually, I take it back, that was a battleship of his own. It wasn't a battle cruiser, but nonetheless it is going to struggle. 1, 2, 3, 4 battleships versus that, and a bunch of destroyers, and there is a sub hunter over there. Not looking great for team number 1. Let's see if they got anything. Oh, there's a nuke. So RKX, he's been busy in the air situation, but he's also built himself a nuke that is loading on up. It is going, well, it's not going too badly actually. Could maybe throw some assistance on that to get it faster. We have a check over in this direction, and what is Templar doing? Templar is building gateway after gateway, and he's going to be spitting out RASCOMs from these two. I wonder, he just needs to get more eco. Got some SMD, he's at it for a while. It's loaded with 2 bombs. Over this way, and the Navy is done. Just completely overwhelmed by the massive number of units from team number 1, and well, Rick just simply cannot keep up. He might as well stop trying to build out of this. Every time a unit spawns, it dies straight away. Doing on that, naval factories are gone, naval factories going down, everything's burning, even while it's trying to rebuild. And down goes the summit. Grand old beefy looking boy just sinking bow first down to the depths of the ocean. And Grande has built an experimental... What have you built? He's built a crab. Well, that crab has a very long walk ahead of it. Very long walk, but having said that, when it does get over to the other side, it's probably going to be super effective because it won't have been scouted, and it can pop out of the water and start doing some decent damage. But all of these factories have been paused, as they should. No reason to keep building because everything's going to die. Not looking great for Team 2 at this stage. Cruisers down here, well, they found some vulnerable targets finally. TMD is trying to do its best, but it has been decided that the Zuis will take care of those, and take care of those they are. You can see they've killed a half a dozen, or 8 already, more shells dropping on in, and we're going to see the rest of these TMD go down. And it's going to give these cruisers free reign to lob those away. I hear strats. Where are they? Up here, and that was strats trying to bomb some ASFs. Okay, I don't know why ASFs from Rick are sitting up this way, but sitting up this way they are. And they're going to have a go at these strat bombers, except turning it in front of a wing of interceptors doesn't help your cause, neither does getting caught by the ASFs from Samuel. That was curious, that was amusing. Right, over this way, just have a check on things. So the nuke is 75% loaded. Let's just have a look at team number 1 and see how we're looking for SMD. Well, we have one and loaded from right side, so he's going to be perfectly fine. Up here at the back we see, okay, we one and loaded for Ingenious. Is his front island loaded? No, doesn't have anything, but not a lot of eco there. Could maybe look at nuking the HQ. You could maybe pick up 2 HQs for the 1 bomb. Might be useful. Do we have SMD in the base of? No, so Grande has no SMD. He could be a target of opportunity for the nuke. Could kill off a bunch of eco there. And yeah, there we go. SMD is up for a Samuel, and it is well and done. So the only real target they have for the nuke at the moment is Grande Marin 77. And he would learn an important lesson about having nuclear missile defense. Well, this and the fringe explosions could take out some of the eco here. You've got some mass fabs that could do some extra explosions there. But yeah, I don't think he's the strongest player on team number 1 at the moment, but he is the only viable nuke target. Long for nuke, not too long. Alright, down here though, T3 artillery started by RKX. Well, that could be useful. That'll be able to range all sorts of things and do some extra damage. We can see down here though, this huge area denial from the Navy, and this is basically what it does. It just says no to anything within range of the guns. Torpedo bombers, and a lot of them, torpedo bombers, are out en masse. They don't want to clump up when there's Seraphim cruisers around, because they have flak, of course, and if they're grouped up, the flak will kill multiple of them at once, and that is unfortunate. They have been decimated by the cruisers. Not much left right now, and in come the ASFs from Ingenious as well. They're just going to help take them out. More torpedo bombers out this way, and they are trying to kill the cruisers first at least. If they can take care of the anti-air in the Navy, they can then look at killing off everything else. But the ASFs from Ingenious are just basically saying no to that. And it's a bit of a denial. More storks just getting shot out of the sky and splashing into the ocean to be turned into reclaim. Down they sink. Okay. Nuke is ready. And could he nuke over here perhaps? He could nuke over here. That's a good amount of eco. He could, honestly, he's got to try and find something to destroy with the nuke. He's got to make use of it. And is there anything else he could potentially catch? Well, he's not going to get either of these 2 commanders. They are within range. There we go. Nuke is out. And where's it going for? Not going for there. I didn't see the red ping anyway. We'll have to try to keep an eye on that and see which direction it is flying. I think all Zico needs to go into the T3 artillery now, which has just been scouted. So they're going to know that is on the way, and they'll see if they can have a plan. Okay. The nuke is going this way. It could be going for the island, and that crab that we saw ages ago has finally made its way through the water. Not too far off, and the nuke is, I think, is carrying on. Looks like he's going for the right side, who's building an Awassa, but that's not going to get anywhere because there is, yes it is, there's the SMD. Nuke is shot down, nothing doing for that thing. Awassa is going on up, so it is looking very much in the hands of team number 1 at the moment. Experimental about to make a beach landing. Please. Bricks from the crab. So it's actually stopping to build a few bricks just for support. I don't think it needs it. There isn't really much on the ground to repel them. Not much at all. In fact, there's a Scathis plan, but that's never going to finish at this rate. Well, there's really nothing on the ground to slow that crab down. It could just pop on up out of the wood and have a grand old go. We see some Salems have jumped onto land themselves and are looking to make a difference, but some stingers turn up from RKX and they're going to feel free to just nibble away at these destroyers until they are dead. Calling for air support. There's air support back here from Samuel, but I don't think he's quite paying attention. Or he just doesn't want to send those ASFs into enemy territory to get obliterated, because they would die horribly to this larger air wing from RKX. There's some ASFs back here from Genius, but they're just holding their place at the moment. And it's going to be the end of the Salems. Enough stingers will chew through their armor pretty quickly and they will run out of health. Right side finishes off the Wassa that we saw him building before. That is now up and ready to go. That's going to cause some issues. And hello, a few bombers over on this side as well. We've got, what's that, 10? 9? Around about 9 or 10 strats, and they are on the move as well, so they are good to go. Alright, a second nuke was built here by Templar, wanting to jump into the nuke game, and I suppose that could be an idea. Get a couple of launches, maybe you can overwhelm some of the SMD, just keep the nuke until it's gone. And he started building a spider, so Monkey Lord coming into the game, but that's going to need to be built really damn quickly, because there's a crab waiting to go. And I hear it, there it is. There was up this way with a single bomb wipes out this entire external area outside the shields. The shields have collapsed from damage and it can just swing back, drop another bomb and can clear out all of this just to be extra annoying. But it's not, it is carrying on back, maybe fears some kind of reprisals. These strat bombers on the right hand side, they have been noticed. Yeah, we can see here that poor old Rick is trying to decide what to build. He's got a Fatboy going up very slowly. Also started on a Duke. He doesn't have a lot left in the way of income. That's going to take a very, very long time to go. He's going to need to get reclaimed. And to be honest, some reclaim from some dead strap bombers isn't an awful idea. The Wassa has done what now? I heard it drop, but I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this time it's impacted on the shields. Didn't get any kills because the shield was back up. But the shield is down now. There is another one going up which could maybe keep some damage out, but not likely, especially with those attacks coming in, and come, boom goes the bomb. Basically clears out all of that. Crab is inbound. It is on land, but it has anti-air support. We're going to bounce through in a few lightning tanks thanks to the T3 HQ that was slapped down by right side. Got a bunch of engines on that, and he is looking to pop out some ground defenses to assist, especially the lightning tanks. Those are going to be a very good shout for defense if they send in some more gunships, which looks like there might be. You want to strat these first. The strat bomber, hit those, get rid of the anti-air, and then you're going to be free to do extras. But just have a look what lightning tanks do to things. This Whaler had full health a moment ago. Then come the lightning tanks and down everything goes. Stingers are out. They're focusing down the lightning tanks as they need to. Now some interrupting from the crab. It is actually standing above the lightning tanks protecting them, so they can't be shot. The ASFs come in from Samuel and they clean up the gunships, and now there's nothing in the air to slow these down. Monkey is almost complete. Nuke is loading slowly. The Duke down here is almost complete as well. They just need to hold on a little bit longer to get all that active. And if that crab is very, very healthy. And not to mention that there are units on the ground as well coming on through. The Monkey is done. That needs to get sent over right away to try and do what it can against all of this. A bunch of sailors, but the Wassa drops this bomb down, and this is Templar not under shields. He's going to die in one shot from the Wassa. Wasn't even standing near a T3 Pigeon, just not quite under shields. and his commander goes down, but the Awasa is taking a lot of anti-aircraft fire. It's now getting chased down by some ASS, and it's actually not going to get out, but it has gotten the kill on Templar, which throws Eco into the hands of RKX and the monkey. But the question is, does he have anything to slow down that megalith? Well, the answer is kind of not really. The Duke has completed. Wouldn't be a bad thing to grab all of these SACUs and start throwing down some point defense. Just anything to try and take things on, but the Crab is now here. It can start focusing down on, well, it's going for the PD first, and it could now kill the nuke. RTX throws out the GG over there. He thinks it's over, and to be honest, I think he's right. That is a very, very healthy Crab. Plenty of hit points left on that thing to do some damage. While he does have a Duke, the rest of it is just not great. It does have a fair amount of eco over here, but Team 1 is just right up there. And you could still nuke here. I still don't see any strategic missile defense having been built by Grande. One nuke there could be a lot of fun just to get some kills on there. But the Crab is going... what's it going for? Well, it looks like it is hopping around and going straight for all the power. The monkey does turn up, and maybe that can make some difference if it doesn't stand too close to an exploding pigeon, which it does. Takes a bunch of damage from that, and now it is Crab versus monkey. Well, we know how that goes. Crab wins every single time. Monkey trying to get in and do some extra damage and maybe get out of range, but the Crab is actually focused on it. Turns with the guns, and monkey... see a monkey die. And there are some renegades? Well, they're dead, so they might have been renegades. There's a single SACU trying to have a go at the Crab, do some damage, but nothing doing on that guy's front. He is doomed. Whalers abound as well. So this is just going from bad to worse for team number 2. Nuke goes down there, nothing doing there. A bundle of strats coming over, and are there enough to get through the shields? There are. The shields are down, and Oakrick is now exposed without their shielding. Those bombs will come around for a second pass, and he's going to be a dead man, unfortunately. Trying to get some dodging on, but walking on a straight line is not really dodging. Does twist and turn back, just too many bombers. Not enough turning, not enough twisting, and he is out of the game. The Crab does go down. So all these support commanders turned around and fired on the Crab, and it has gone a boomski. Notice it was an overcharge from RKX, and that will of course done a lot of damage to the Crab. He does have a huge amount of energy storage, so, but anyway, he is now down out of the game. The strats from Samuel to just finish things off.